Okay, we'll call this meeting order, and I'll turn it over to Andrea this morning.
Okay, I think since we are doing an open meeting, if we want to give a chance for comments from anyone who is here, you're welcome to have comments.
We met Tuesday
Yes.
afternoon, and with a lot of discussion, about a 45-minute meeting, and they voted electronically, and it passed with only, I think, 3 no votes. But there was a lot of reservations on some things, and people are frustrated. With a 7:30 meeting, they asked if they could submit comments that I could read. So if you'll bear with me a little bit, these are the comments from teachers that would have liked to be here. And it's a little long, so pardon me. We are a school recognized for our high standards and strong record of achievement. We take great pride in maintaining that reputation. However, when compensation is set near the lower end compared to surrounding districts, it gives the impression that the dedication and effort we invest are not fully valued. While some neighborhood schools may serve higher need populations, they are not held to the same standards and performance that we consistently meet and exceed. Our staff works tirelessly to uphold the level of excellence that Barr-Reeve is known for, which becomes increasingly challenging as our student population grows and diversifies. Given the expectations placed upon us and results that we continue to deliver, it seems only fair that our compensation would reflect that level of commitment and achievement, at least on par with, if not above, other area schools. That's one of a few. Very, very disappointed. Did not even get a cost of living status quo increase. Hard to believe a school like a Barr-Reeve Blue Ribbon School would give their teachers a negative $200 for their new contract. This is sad, and we believe it's a slap in the face. I'm disappointed that the board and administration can find money to give the administration a cost of living 3% raise, but can't find an equitable raise for their teaching staff. I guess a teacher's cost of living doesn't really matter. I'm voting yes because I fear that we could somehow be in a worse situation if this does not pass. I don't really know what the answer is, and I know much of the issues we have to do with state funding. I'm not sure how we as a family can keep up in this economy at this current rate. I did say yes to this contract, and it really shows how much you don't appreciate your teaching staff. I've been to board meetings and staff meetings where it's always said that Barr-Reeve has the best staff. We really appreciate you. You always go above and beyond what's asked of you. And then we honestly roll our eyes because we know the contract doesn't meet the expectations of what you say we are. I'm disappointed the contract does not reflect an appreciation for everything teachers do, nor does it reflect the increase in cost of living. Teaching is already an undervalued position in our society, further highlighted by the fact that administration will probably receive a 3% raise, and the teaching staff has been offered far less. We are also trying to provide for our families in a way that the administrators are as well, or this current contract does not reflect that. When teachers feel undervalued and underappreciated, there's an eventual negative effect on the overall ethos of the school. It's incredibly disappointing to work where you don't feel valued, especially when we're recognized as a Blue Ribbon school. It's very disheartening to see how undervalued our teachers are, and basically we were given negative $200 in this contract, while we feel administrators will probably get a 3% raise. We lost a $1,000 stipend for our lower tier insurance, but we asked, will the administrators lose their $1,200 stipend for their cell phones? I'm guessing they will not be asked to make the same financial sacrifice you're asking of your teachers. Although I'm voting yes to this contract, I'm doing so reluctantly with many concerns. It is insulting that in a profession once so highly respected and rewarded, teachers are now being offered such poor compensation. From the loss of the tag grant to worsening health insurance and the overall poor compensation for all the work a teacher does, it does make me feel very underappreciated. After hearing about the contracts other local schools have approved, I feel we should have been offered a much better contract than we have been presented, especially considering how many teachers are currently leaving the profession and how few young people are choosing to enter it. I hope the Barr-Reeve recognizes that competitive pay and benefits need to be prioritized to retain the classroom teachers that Barr-Reeve has at such a high standard. I don't understand how I can vote yes to a contract that has me losing money. It's incredibly disappointing to me that after devoting my entire career to a school and community, I'm actually being asked to work for less. This definitely does not make me feel appreciated. We keep opening up our doors for more numbers and more money. This means we're just adding more students in one classroom, but expecting our teachers to perform at the same level as before. Our clientele is changing. There are more needs, so the bigger class sizes and positive outcomes are not working. We're required to do more work, but we're not seeing an increase in pay. RA is an absolutely wonderful place to work, and the teachers are dedicated, but I feel sometimes we're taken for granted financially. Perhaps the administration feels that they aren't going to leave no matter what the pay is. I feel the scale is going to be a problem when a bunch of our amazing teachers retire. We try to bring other teachers in. You're going to have to bring in teachers at higher levels than your current teachers are worth, even though they spent their entire careers here. Teachers who are currently in the middle, we really question how you feel about our work as a corporation. Although I'm voting yes, it needs to become the mission of the administration and for those negotiating for the teachers to do better in next year's negotiations. RA should be and should do better, and that should be our goal. We have to do better. It's very difficult in these economic times to ask your staff to basically take a pay cut, all the while enduring an insurance plan that's worse than it was under Dunn. Like others, I'll be interested to see what kind of contract the administrators get. Will they also take a cut or at least stay status quo? That will tell me a lot about how you truly feel about your teachers who do the heavy lifting every day, especially now as we've brought in more and more students from outside the district who often bring with them challenges that have led to them changing schools in the first place. At a time when educators are being asked to do more than ever, it's disheartening to see that our superintendent and board aren't willing to do more for the teachers. Our out-of-district percentage should speak for itself. We seem to be able to figure out ways to pay for extra positions, so it seems that maybe we could find a way to pay the people who have been here and remain loyal. And one more page. First, let me say I love the school and the community. However, contract negotiations have been and probably always will be complicated. I was not in the room for negotiations, but it doesn't seem like care was put into how the corporation's offer would affect the teachers from financial and morale perspectives. While it is true that it isn't the corporation's fault that the state legislature failed us on school funding and TAG, it didn't seem that the corporation cared that as a result of those changes, that it would be the teachers who lose money from last year's contract to this year's. If we want education in schools to continue to be something our community can be proud of and rally around, we need more than a pat on the back. Additionally, we are reminded schools are our community, uniquely so among professions. And if we begin to prioritize some teachers' work over others, as the current TAG program will do, we'll continue to find enough money to give administrators raises. What message does that send to the masses of our teachers? I respect our administration and generally love working for them and with them. But if you're asking teachers to take a net pay cut, why would administrators accept a raise? Last, I know that some days of paid maternity, paternity leave were proposed but denied. And I won't mention that we were given the option. So that's probably not an accurate comment there. This is something that most teachers were in favor of, even though they'll never get to see it. And would have been something that seemingly would affect the corporation very little from a financial standpoint, but would have had a big impact on not only the few employees that would possibly benefit, but could also help in attracting new talent that may go elsewhere to seek more money and better benefits. I think you would be shocked at how many teachers have second jobs now, or taking more ECAs or supervisions or tutoring just to keep up with the cost of living, since our contract is not. I guess it's like Governor Braun said, do more with less. We have teachers in our building who are considering career changes. They're thinking about leaving the teaching profession and going to Crane, where pay and benefits would be better. Some teachers are contemplating retirement, many sooner than they would have hoped. How are we going to replace all those teachers who are leaving? There aren't enough college graduates to fill those spots, so you'll have to poach other teachers, and often those teachers we poach are teachers at near or top of the pay scale. And finally, I greatly appreciate the teachers that miss between 1 to 3 school days per year will still get rewarded for their great attendance. It's not good for anyone's health, mental or physical, to feel like they're losing out on money if they take even 1 day off of work. I wish the paid maternity, paternity leave, even a couple of weeks would have passed. Even though I would not have been using it in the future, it would be a huge act of goodwill towards the teachers. If more corporations and industries, for that matter, begin to offer some kind of paid maternity and paternity leave, it would help future parents greatly and hope it become the standard nationwide. I do think that administrators deserve raises, but it is a bad message to send that teachers do not. please consider making teachers feel more appreciated in tangible ways, not just by giving us verbal pat on the backs, but actual tangible raises. Whereas that only really applies to that situation there. So thank you for your patience on those.
Can I comment? So I understand the frustration of the pay on there, and we're frustrated that our revenues went up less than 1% this year. I just want to make sure, as someone who sees the world in numbers, that the numbers are communicated accurately. So this is a 2.5% raise off of salaries. Now, if we want to back off the tag and we want to back off the extra 1,000 in HSAs, then we can't count. I mean, the tag money's still there, and it wasn't up to us that it's not going to be divided evenly. So if we want to back that off, then we got to add it back in now, because the tag money is still going to be there. It's just not going to be divvied up exactly even. We're still going to have teachers that get that. So it's going to be, that should be part of it if we're going to back it off and say that we got it last year. Secondly, if we're going to back off the HSA contribution, then we have to back it off for administrators and non-certs and everybody got that. So if we're looking, if we can't say, let's say that we come and give non-certs a 2.5% raise, then that's not going to be more than teachers, because they have the same $1,000 that they can back off of that and say, well, that's not really true new money this year. Am I accurate about that?
Non-certs were $400.
$400 on there. Yeah. So I just want to make sure we're looking at apples to apples. So that if we say this isn't a 2.5% raise, then we need to also look the same at the other raises that we give to non-certs and administrators, because they also lost that HSA contribution that was extra as well.
I think the two things that stick out to the teachers, we're losing $1,000 stipend for insurance.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They think it'd be fair if the administrators lost their $1,200 stipend for their phones.
Admin's losing $1,000 stipend for insurance as well. Yeah, I mean, that's across the board. That's not teachers only. That was everybody.
And we're not aware of that. As you said, you're going to negotiate the admin contracts after we settle ours.
Yeah, no, that was a totally health insurance related issue last year, where we came in and said, all right, I don't know if this was communicated well, that people would realize that there was going to be for prescriptions a higher deductible than non-prescriptions. So we came in one time and said, let's put another $1,000 in HSAs for everybody. So because of that maybe not being communicated well, but that was everybody. That was not just teachers.
You're saying admins are getting a 2.5% raise?
We don't know that yet. We haven't even discussed it on there. But I'm just saying, if we follow that because we're trying to line it up with teachers, that's what we're looking at.
But we didn't get a 2.5% raise.
If you take $1,500,
No, we didn't. The bottom line, the total money, it's a shell game. Take the 1,000 over here, move it over there, minus 700 for grant or for tag.
that tag money will be there. It just won't be evenly
For the
distributed.
maximum 20%.
I agree, but that's not our choice.
But that means 80%, we're in the 80%.
80% of your teachers will make less money.
And that's if the state gives the 20% of the people an amount. The other 80%, we were 3s and 4s where everybody got some. Just add the money. The bottom number from last year to this year is minus 200. No matter how you move the numbers and sway the pendulum, it's minus 200. There's no other way to say that.
Well, if we want to use that math, let's just make sure to use that on the non-cert, because we got to back off 1,000 off of admin. Whatever raise we get, then we have to back 1,000 off of it to make it. Yeah.
I don't think any begrudge the non-certs a single penny.
Right.
They need everything they can get. We support anything you want to give the non-certs, give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad morale when we receive negative 200. It is negative 200.
Not for everybody. I mean, because there'll be people that get huge raises because of the tag money being
According to Tim
disproportionate.
Grove, and Henry and I had this conversation, if every school nominated 20% of their teachers for tag grants, the state would be over $100 million short. So 20% of teachers are not going to get tag grant money.
Mhm.
So it's not even 80% that's going backwards there. It's probably 90%.
And again, that's, I mean, that's something, what you're saying is something that's been determined by the
Well,
legislature.
I'm not saying it.
I agree with that too.
The more I've learned, the less I hold you any guilt at all
Right.
on how you did the tag program. I understand now that pressure was applied. If you don't take it, good luck on the next one. We understand that. So we don't have any ill will there. We just have to look at the bottom line.
Yeah.
$1,500 raise, minus 100 or minus 1,000, which you're saying is going to be everybody.
Mhm.
90% of us are not going to get any tag money, minus 700. That's negative 1,700, positive 1,500. That's negative $200 in my math class.
Mhm.
And that's how teachers will see it. And then if the administrators go forward 2.5%, that will be hard to swallow.
And they'll see it that way if it's, as long as it's communicated accurately. So 2.5%, I'm not saying they're gonna get that, but let's say they get that, we gotta make sure to back the 1,000 off before we consider.
Why does it have to be 2.5%? Why can't it be the same monetary dollar amount that we got?
Well, I'm not saying it has to be, I'm just saying
Mhm.
whatever that is, we just wanna make sure our math is.
I believe the Washington administrators took the same $250 raise that their teachers got. That was in the statement that yes, this is bad, and we're in it with you as a team. And I love my administrators, I do.
I do too.
But we want us all to feel in this mess together, which we are. We preach we're a team. We're all rowing together,
Mhm.
and let's all row together. We don't want one people going with the stream, the rest of us going upstream.
And I'm being 100% accurate, we have not discussed that at all. So anything I'm throwing out there is just saying, let's make sure we look apples to apples on the
We
math.
just mentioned at the negotiating table, because we all took notice of it.
Right.
When asked about the advantage, you said, well, they'll probably get the same standard cost of living raise.
That's what we usually try to do, is try to keep everyone even as percentage. I just want to make sure everybody's on the same mathematical formula that we're looking at.
So we did not know that the admins were losing the $1,000 stipend as well. That is encouraging that they're going to take some of the same bite we are. And I know their contracts have nothing to do with ours, but in reality, we're going to see, the faculty's going to see what they got, which is public record. And it sets a bad tone if we feel like we're in the classroom every day, as I said, doing the heavy lifting, and we're going in our minds backwards, and other people are going forwards. And I leave the non-search totally out of that. And I will stand here again today and say, Katrina Murphy is grossly underpaid. I hope if you do it across the board for non-search, she's one that should be an exception. She needs to be compensated more than what she currently is, because she runs the school up there. That's not a
Yeah,
statement.
absolutely. Yeah.
If Jeff's gone, she picks up the slack. Barron's gone, she picks up the slack. She does it all. She's a superwoman. She does whatever you can possibly give her.
People don't even go to Jeff, they just go to Katrina. No, I don't mean that as a slam to Jeff.
She's at.
You don't have time to mess around, you go straight to Katrina, she gives you the answer, you're out. You can't waste time looking for Jeff.
It's just hard to measure the value of those people, you know, in your school corporation, just the day-to-day
Yes.
Those
in the
types of
trenches.
people.
And Katrina's too humble to even, she would be blushing terribly here at the moment. And tell me
Yeah,
not
she
to-
has no idea how many times her name has come up, or she would tell us to stop.
Those types of people they're the ones out front. They hear and see and I want to say one thing also about so when we look at things, I know Andrea and even Travis, when he was here, he was always looking. Since I've been on the school board, they were always looking. He was always looking. Andrea always looks at what we can do to keep, as you guys, as the team, keep everybody kind of equal and going forward together, pay wise and benefit wise, which benefits lead into. I work in you guys all know I work in the medical world. And the medical world has changed in the 38 years that I've been doing it. When I started in hospitals, home care, now hospice, insurances, I mean, when you worked at a hospital, you had great benefits. You had pharmacy, you had doctors, you had your tests and everything were paid for. Insurance wise, it was very economically cheap. It was easy to make, to raise families. What you guys see here insurance-wise at this school is Andrea, Travis, the board, we go above and beyond trying to figure out how to keep that at a economically or, where people can afford it. Working in the medical world, you guys, we have, in some aspects, we have way better insurance here than what we have in sometimes working at a hospital, home care, hospice. It's changed a lot. And to try to get what you can get a good benefit here, insurance changes somewhere down the line. So we go, and I know Andrea spent a lot of time, Travis spent a lot of time when he was here trying to find those better or best benefits for insurance wise. And, insurance costs everybody. And it cost us, right now we're paying more than what we did with what's it done. So, but the thing about it is the benefits we found that we have now were better benefits than what they were throwing at us otherwise. So even though as frustrating as it is, it's not, we strive to try to get the better benefit and keep the cost down. Plus the HSA that we have, a lot of corporations don't give you that money. I've never had a corporate, working in a hospital, working in the medical world. Nobody very few people give you an HSA money at the beginning of the year. So that's another benefit that, you're receiving, across the board that basically a lot of places do not get.
Do we all currently receive the same HSA, admins, teachers?
Yes.
So there's a proration as far as the admins. They do get more for their HSA contribution.
It's not the same then.
All of our non-certs and certified staff members who take the insurance receive $1,500 deposited in January into their HSA account. The administrators do receive $3,000 deposited into their HSA account. And then my perspectives, I'm hearing what you're saying. The one thing that I will say is that sometimes numbers for administrators do look a little bit different, but also if you would break it down to the daily amount, considering the fact that they do work more days, and you would compare daily amounts to daily amounts, you would actually find that there are instances where our administrators do come out less per day. So again, it's numbers, it's perspective, it's, just making sure that we have apples to apples. I am going to pause for a minute because I know that Lana does the option if you would like to go ahead and take the vote. That way, in case Lana needs to leave to get to appointments, we can always continue conversation.
Okay.
So
I want to say something just before we vote, just comment to kind of your comments also. So Jody and Andrea and I were at a regional school board meeting, Region 9 on Monday evening in Jasper. And well, first of all, good questions, good points raised. One thing that makes Barr-Reeve special is that people do care. Okay. And so just the fact that you're voicing, even when things sound contentious sometimes on either side, the positive side is that you care about your school, you care about your teachers, you're being a voice for them, appreciate all the comments. Okay. And I genuinely do. They're hard listening to them because, we care too. We want to do what's best for the school. And a couple times you said, area schools are doing better, but we sat, one of the benefits of being at these regions is you sit next to other superintendents, school board members, and statewide, and Jody and Andrew can vouch for this. Things are just not good. The superintendent across from us said how much their school is losing over the next 2 years. It's a common theme across the state. Nobody is doing well. Everybody is tapping their reserves. Some schools have more reserves than others. It's scary when you start getting into reserves to pay your people and you commit to that. And that's where every school's at. We're not out of that pool of people. So I don't want the perception, again, like Alex was said, just looking, there may be a random school kind of here or there that did do better. And I'm not taking away from that, but statewide, the picture is not that things are good and we're just dissing on our teachers here. So I just want to clarify that before we vote and kind of put that on the table in terms of just, again, how difficult it is to negotiate contracts, and especially when you care and you want to do the very best you can.
When we put these comments together, I'll be honest, we did not filter, we did not take only these kind, only that kind.
Yeah.
So when you have 35 teachers there, not everyone knows how every other contract, we researched it and we know there are many contracts certainly worse than ours. And there are a few that are better than ours. But if you really research it, we know everybody's hurting.
Yeah.
You read about Hamilton Southeastern, and they had 86% of teachers voted against. And they're doing a work-in, they're refusing to work anything outside contract hours. We're never going to do that here.
Mhm.
We stood up and told that to our teachers Tuesday, that we want no radical action along those lines whatsoever. I know North Knox has some good things. Washington has a great contract. Now this one wasn't great. We understand everybody's hurting. So overall, compared to area schools, this is not a terrible contract. It's just bad compared to what we have been used to. But we all are statewide in the same situation. And some are going to do better than others, and we understand that. So I don't think we have any ill will about where our contract ranks among area schools as much. We just want to make sure we're all in the same situation together, I believe.
Appreciate the comments. And that's good for us to hear those again, kind of going into the next couple months where we're looking at certified and admin pay. So.
Thank you.
All right, we have a contract before you from our tentative agreement meeting. The only changes that were made to it, as I did discuss with our negotiations team, we changed the top salary to reflect the literacy endorsement grant. And then we changed, or not grant, but the literacy endorsement that we have on there. So the top salary is now $79,650. It was listed in the schedule. We did make the correction that since our previous contract, the Just Say No Club had changed their name to Level Up Club. So we made that correction on the ECA schedule. And then we had already, since the last contract, included Unified Sports, just hadn't added it to the actual list yet. So we got Unified Sports added to our ECA. So minor changes that we made. And again, I shared all of those with the negotiation team as we made those. So otherwise, the contract is as it was presented to you in our tentative agreement. Ooh, I'm sorry.
So I will entertain a motion to approve the teacher contract for the 2025-26 school year.
Someone second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you guys for being here. Again, appreciate
I
it.
will close with one comment. I would like to say thank you to our board. They have, from the beginning, whenever we started looking at this, they wanted base raises. And so I will say thank you in the financial times that we are facing, that you felt the commitment to give a base raise to our teachers. So thank you for allowing us to
We
do that.
also appreciate that, because many schools did just get stipends.
Right.
Thank you.
And thank you to Alex and Andrea for being our
Yeah, because
representing
they
the
were
board.
on the receiving end of us, and it was receiving end.
And we hope you understand that we do have to do our utmost best to try and get the best contract that we can for our teachers. There's no ill will personally about this year.
Yeah, because it was no fun going back and all our teachers are looking at us and we had to say, this is it. That's all we got. It's hard to tell teachers that.
And we did state Tuesday in the meeting that it wasn't that you turned down maternity. You gave us a choice of this or that.
Yeah.
So, as I said, some of those comments don't reflect the accuracy of what actually occurred. But I didn't edit anyone's comments that they sent out. So
The appreciation for the teachers and, as a whole. I mean, there's school board meetings that, sometimes you guys are here, but there's school board meetings that we have executive meetings. We have, multiple, like the meeting we had at Jasper this past week. The teachers are definitely appreciated. It's just trying to, we sometimes have our hands tied with what we can do in some ways or the others. but they're definitely appreciated, so.
We need to sign it before we leave.
Yeah, let's go ahead and let them adjourn. That way if Lana needs to get to her meeting.
I'll move that we adjourn.